Awesome. I wish that could just be a little more fun of a saying of this meeting is being recorded, but we'll work on that. We need to give her a good Wisconsin accent. Welcome to our skills session today. Everybody that's tuning in live, you guys are on mute. But we're going to be watching the chat bar, Eric and I are. So we really want this to be a little bit interactive with some questions because we wanted to talk about planning for next year. Does anybody ever feel like, oh my gosh, I just can't get caught up? And I mean, of course, everybody does right now, right, Erica? Because of the last 15 months that we've had. But I think there's some tools that we can equip ourselves with to try and get ahead of the game a little bit, and so that we can walk into the 21-22 school year feeling much better. And Josh, this is the one you've been hoping for, which is awesome. So before I get started, why don't I mean, most of you all know me. Erica is a member here too, but Erica, why don't you just introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Erica Chandler. I'm the Director of Communications for Afton School District, which is more in St. Louis, not the city, but in the county right by it. We have, well, in the before times, we had about 2,600 students. We're down to more like 2,500. I'm curious to see what happens this next school year. So that's us. We have 5 schools, 1 pre-K, and then K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12. So we're kind of this niche little district surrounded by a whole lot of bigger districts with a whole lot more people than one person. So I feel like, I don't know if you guys ever feel like you're trying to keep up with the big dogs, living that life all the time. So that's me. Otherwise, I am a member of MOSPRA, the Missouri School PR Association. I'm actually president-elect. I guess in a couple of weeks, I'll be president. Good luck to them.
That's
so
awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you did a great presentation, which everybody still has access to in the file section, the webinar. Erica talked about, kind of surviving in a one-person school PR shop. And in that, you shared your editorial calendar, and a lot of people loved that. And so we're going to have you kind of explain that today. I put together, do you have one assembled yet for the 21-22 school year yet?
I do.
Okay, so we're going to share that. So everybody who's on and everybody who's watching this recording, okay, I set up a Google Doc that has some of the resources that we're going to point out. And these are all viewable. And then you should be able to make a copy and make a copy for yourself, okay? But first of all, this is not in the typical social school for EDU like printable PDF yet. It's going to be by next week, but we do have all of the dates, at least that we're kind of choosing to kind of recognize. Now there are additional ones, like we don't put a lot of the Christmas and Thanksgiving and some of those on there. And so this Google Doc, again, you could copy and then paste in the new things or edit it to put in new things. But basically it's just going through the month and year. July, we just never really have anything. I mean, of course there's 4th of July and things, but we've got the months listed first. We've got the weeks dated out, and then the specific days. Okay. And we could talk all day, Erica, about whether you should recognize National IT Professional Day, or, oh my gosh, you realize it's 3 p.m. on that day and oh my gosh, I missed it. And so there's a whole nother, I guess, approach on, do we need to really make sure we're highlighting each and every one of these days? But they're here for you to reference. And we'll lay this out really nicely, and you're going to see some other tools where they're laid out. But all of these dates, you guys, are the actual days for 21-22. Melissa Marty is our membership coordinator here, and she went through and double checked all of these things. The one that ends up to be kind of funky which is really weird, is this National Hispanic Heritage Month, which they basically say is September 15th through October 15th. But some calendars are just saying it's September. So, you know, that one might be a little bit of a toss up. Somebody's chatting, so I'm going to okay, Mimi, you love that this is a big help. That's great. But yes, so this in and of itself is awesome, right? So, you know, to be able to have this out there, that's one thing. The other thing though is like, okay, how do I make sure that I remember all of these things? And so I have a few tools for you that I just want to point out quickly. And then Erica's going to show you her method. And I think out of everything that you guys see today, you're going to be like, I like a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And then you're going to like mold your thing that works for you. And then you're going to share it back with all of us because what you create might be really helpful for the rest of us. So this is just kind of a starting point. But first of all, what Melissa Marty did, because I know that some of you are printable calendar people and you really like the printable stuff instead of doing stuff digitally, which is great. So guess what Melissa did? Melissa put together the calendar and she's got July 21, and these are the actual days for July of 21. And then if there were any days, they're going to be listed in here. And then she's got some notes, some kind of themes that are popular for those specific months. And you might have additional things, but in July, you're going to start thinking about new staff introductions, back to school, staff features. You're going to, you know, start kind of planning for that staff convocation and in service. Okay. And then if we scroll into some months with more stuff like October, okay, she wrote in the days with the blue. Custodial Workers Recognition Day is October 2nd. Walk to School Day, National Coaches Day. Again, you may not recognize all of those, but at least they're there for you. And then we've got the weeks in red and then the month things down here in red. But this is like printable format. You could print this out right now. You could start recording, you know, we kind of do the 6, 11, 3, and 7 posts. You could write right on there if you wanted to. You could write additional things that are happening at your school. Oh, November, we got Thanksgiving break, so I'm going to write right on there, no school. Because then at the beginning of the month, you can kind of glance at this and be like, okay, well, this is what I have to do for social media. Okay. So this is just one of the tools that we're giving you in your toolbox today. Then another tool that I have for you is a Google Sheet, which is not quite as involved, you know, with detail as what Erica's going to show you. But what we did was we put each month is down here on the bottom. Oh, and let me just hang on. Let me share this right now. I'm going to copy this link and paste it for you guys because some of you will be like, I want to start working on this, right? Where, so Tamra, the toolbox, we're going to, we'll have it in the resource section. So, and I may also put it out just in the Facebook group. And then of course, yes, I will email you the recording and then I'll get you this link sent in that email as well. Okay. So just so you know, the list with all of the links, now you now have it in the little chat bar. Okay, so this is a list view, and basically all I did was I put the dates to remember up top. I did put the dates for the specific days or weeks and things over to the left. I think that's a little bit easier. I left themes up here because you may have some common themes that you talk about every September or every October or whatever. Did I shared, oh, hang on. I shared that to all the panelists, but I didn't share it to all the attendees. Thank you so much, Jody, for letting me know that. Erica saw it, of course. And so now you should see it. So that's the little document here, this planning for success. Sometimes it still feels like Monday, Erica, you know, so
it does.
it's all good.
In the pandemic, every day is Monday, I think.
Yes. And so themes you can put in here. The other thing you could add are, dates that you have, specific dates in September. If you wanted to put, hey, we've got Labor Day off. This is the date where we have parent-teacher conferences or whatever. But you can totally customize this. Then we added every day of the month down here. And then we just gave the 6, 11, 3, and 7 so that if you wanted to type in anything that you were posting, you totally could. Okay, so this is for the whole year for 21, 22. And then the other one that we have is more of a calendar view, which I don't know. This is going to be one that you guys are going to make better because I don't know how usable each of these blocks are, but I know that sometimes it's just helpful. I don't know, like to me, this list view, this like is overwhelming sometimes for me. And this when I can kind of see the Monday or Sunday through Saturday, it might help me a little bit. And so there's that version as well. Again, with dates to remember up top, the themes that you might have, and that you can kind of type in there. Any questions so far on those tools that we've got here? And hopefully you all know how to make a copy of this when you open it. So now with that, Erica, I am going to stop my share and I'm going to let you share your calendar.
That sounds good. Let's see. I'm going to share this guy. All right, as long as you can see that.
Yes.
And I should have put in the chat hang on, let me stop share really quick. I'm going to send this so that you have the link as we talk, or at least I'm going to try to.
Awesome. And then I'll get that added to that master sheet that'll have everything.
All right, back over here. So this is my editorial calendar, which I think Andrea touched on. There is no one way to do social media planning or communications or anything really in this life. It's whatever works for you. So I started in my role here at Afton in 2012. So you can see I have a tab for every year I've done this. It took 5 solid years before I actually got an editorial calendar that worked for me. And every one of those 5 years I said, I'm going to do an editorial calendar. So I've left everything here so you can see it. And you can kind of see the evolution where in 2017, I was posting fairly okay. I didn't have fancy check boxes. I just threw it up there what I was doing. And then in 2018-19, I added a little more. In 2019-20, I'd meant to do analytics in 2018-19, didn't do it. I did do it in 2019-20 so that I could go back and see what was successful. This past school year, analytics got dropped because it just was what it was. But this helps me because it helps me work ahead. So I like to go back and see what was happening at the same time the year before. And actually this year it's helpful to go back even another year to 2019-20 to the before times, because hopefully we'll kind of get back to some of what we weren't able to talk about during the pandemic or able to show pictures of, or even that it happened at all. So it's the evolution is certainly there. And I do have a 21-22 tab, although I need those dates that Andrea is going to share with us, because I don't think all those recognition dates are correct. If you make a copy of this, just note that. But I did start at least laying it out for next year, because I know I'm going to want to change my cover photos. I know I'm going to want to welcome new teachers and staff and first day of school, all those things that repeat. The other thing I'm doing this next year is I added YouTube instead of a website. We're actually going through a website transition where the website and app will communicate together. So even though it says app, it's sort of website and app for me. But adding YouTube, because we've been posting more videos there this past school year, I just kind of want to see what that looks like. If I go back to 2021, so this is current life, let's see where I am today. So usually I like to work ahead. least a few days. I am not able to do that right now just because there isn't as much going on. So I don't have as much content right now, although I'm hoping that that changes here pretty soon. Sorry. And I see Tamara asked, the e-column for Medium isn't needed anymore. Not really. It's just more the mediums are the check boxes off to the side. So, and thank you that it's pretty.
It is
Purple
so pretty.
Gold. Always purple in Afton. So what I tried to do this during the summer, was not able to do that last summer because of the pandemic and traveling being discouraged. We steered away from this. But in years past, we've done a feature called Afton Around the World, and we ask our staff and our families to send us photos of wherever they go. Bonus points if you have Afton gear to show us, and we post those throughout the summer.
Yeah,
did
show
it flip
us.
the tab? Do you see my creator studio? Or
Yep,
do you see?
yep.
Okay, so here is our first. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Maybe if it'll let me see it. Yes, it will sort of. So here's our first post, maybe creator studio. What are you doing? Here's our first Afton Around the World for 2021. This is a teacher and her family. They're at Fort Walton Beach. So it's kind of fun to check in as a district where other people are. And we just say a quick few words about who you're seeing. If it's students, I don't put last names. I'll usually say, you know, Amanda A and whoever else is in the photo and their family, and where they are, and just a few words about what they're doing. And a reminder, here's how you can join Afton Around the World, which is either DMing us on whatever social media platform you're on or emailing communications at aftonschools.net. Let's see. I don't care. I don't want changes. I'm discarding. Boy, they really wanted me to edit this. Okay, we're going to stop that.
Can you just show again, just so they can see it, the post where you asked for this originally? Because I shared it on my page, on my Social School for EDU page, because it was such a cute graphic too.
There. Let's go to Afton really quick. Let's see.
As quick as the internet lets you.
Absolutely. Afton, maybe it's thinking. So again, these are words just from years past. Let me see if I go to photos, if this will get there. Our admin retreat, we played cornhole, and I was really terrible, but it was fun.
I'm really bad too, Erica. I'm really bad too.
Here's our first post. And this is a graphic made in Canva, except I would share the template that I made it years ago, and I cannot find it any longer. So I cropped it out of another image I had. So sorry about that, but it is Canva. So we just let folks know. We shared it on social media. We also put it in our last family updates and staff updates for the school year. Just by popular request, we're bringing Afton Around the World back. And so it doesn't matter. You don't have to go on a fancy vacation. You can take a staycation, or you can do something fun around town and send us a photo and we will share it. And this is new this year, to stay safe, which implies please don't go into, I'm torn about what to do if there's major crowds, or hoping it will just be family or student photos, and we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Jamie Brace from Claremore said she admired and acquired this. And I saw that she saw her, she's got red striped zebras. And so she used her red striped zebras around the globe a little bit. And so that was kind of cool.
I like that. Did I see a hand? So Gina asks if this will be shared. It will. I think I threw a link in the chat, but Andrea, you can add that to the sheet that you're going to send out to of resources. You can feel free to make a copy, use it as a start, and make changes to whatever works for you. Or if it doesn't work for you, that's okay too. This is sort of how my crazy OCD brain works. But on the flip side, my good friend Melissa McConnell in Belton, who has some of the best social media strategies that I've seen, she works from her phone the day of, and that would drive me batty. So this drives, it's okay. It's what works for her, and this is what works for me, and we're both successful. So
Yeah,
use a mix.
I think that's great because yeah, like for me to have to go in, because a lot of the things, and I talk about this is the stuff that you plan out, right, Erica? So this doesn't mean that you don't put every single post like from a classroom photo or something like that that a teacher sends you. You don't put that back into this, but this is more of the stuff that you plan out ahead of time. Is that right?
For the most part, although I do try to go back and capture it just
Okay.
to make sure it's on here.
Okay.
And I need to do a better job next year of getting more classroom photos so I'm not seeking them all the time.
Yeah.
There have been several times where I'm just like searching for content, which sometimes that's how you find the best content that you had all week.
Right.
But I'm going to try to channel my inner Andrea and ask ahead of time for staff to submit.
Okay, so why don't you just describe like how just go across, you've got the month, the date, the holiday
Yep.
event. Just describe how you kind of do all those check boxes and then the status bar too.
Absolutely. So whatever day a week, so this is the current week right here that we're working from. So like summer school began, but I don't have any summer school pictures yet. So eventually I'm hoping to add that on this list. So I'll look at, on Monday morning, I'll look at the week ahead. There was a time when I was really, before the pandemic, where maybe even the end of the last week, I could schedule ahead for the next week. I haven't really lived in that world for a while, but I'll look ahead and see what's coming up. Like, our board meeting post next week is already scheduled. We schedule on the morning of, just at 6 a.m. that there's a meeting. Those things are easy. I could probably go ahead and schedule for Father's Day. I just hadn't gotten there yet in my schedule. So the evergreen things that are just going to keep recurring, I do try to schedule those ahead of time just to get it off my plate. Whatever day it is, so let's say summer grab and go, I posted that morning just because I remembered, hey, grab and go's changed locations. We should probably talk about it. And I didn't remember to do that until someone emailed that morning. So, hey, that's okay too. We'll just go on the fly. And a new baby, we don't really know when that's going to happen either. That was not the day she sent it. That she sent that over the weekend. So I just kind of scheduled it wherever I had a empty space. So it's a little bit of a mix. If you see something great that should go out that day, do it. If you see something that could wait where you have a spot to fill, that's okay too. That's how it works for me. Right now, and this is a goal of mine to try to do a little bit differently, I'm posting on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pretty much the same content around the same time. Part of that is a strategy. I was just sharing this with Andrea not too long ago, that for Twitter, I was really posting everything there because that was the only social media platform that my superintendent was on, and I wanted to make sure that he saw it. He has recently joined Instagram, so I might be able to diversify what I'm doing across channels a little bit better. I'm going to try to think through this summer. I'd like to differentiate. I don't quite know how yet or what I want to do, so I'm going to think through that to try to differentiate a little bit. Our website, that's decreased a lot. At the beginning, we posted everything on our website. I feel like that has changed a lot. And our app right now is non-functional. That will be changing as well. So it's really just thinking through the tools we have. And like I said, I don't even have YouTube here, and yet we've posted to YouTube quite a bit this year. The status, you have choices for if I just went ahead and posted something, I hit posted, if I scheduled it, or if there's something coming up and I need to schedule it, it sends a reminder right here. And then in analytics, I haven't done for a couple of years, but I used to go back and look through, maybe it was 1920, what posts were popular so that I would have a good idea of what worked and what didn't. Let's see, are we doing one picture a week? for Afternoon Around the World.
Yeah,
Um,
she's asking about that.
so no, I do it a little bit looser than that. At the beginning, it's just when they come in. There typically comes a time during the summer where I have so many, I just try to schedule one a day. Um, Towards the beginning of the school year, as it gets more popular, sometimes it's twice a day. And then I'll usually compile all of them into one album on Facebook after the fact, or about halfway through, start an album and then keep adding them to the album. Um, and I'm posting them on Instagram and Twitter just because that's what we do at this point.
Yeah, and Amy, you might be asking in that second part, you're saying, I feel if you did it on Facebook that you'd get photos in the post, like if you asked for
Gotcha.
photos to be submitted. That is one way to do it, but Erica's kind of keeping it fresher because they're going to see it, right on the page itself. And so that's a fun way to be able to kind of reward those folks. But yeah, you definitely could ask for people just to post their photos in the comments below. If you open up your page for photos and do it that way as well. So
yeah. I've also seen some districts, if it works better, rather than just one post daily, they'll do a post with several in one post, just because that's what works best for them. And that's okay too. I think just whatever helps your content over the summer is always a challenge.
yeah. Awesome.
I'm
Okay.
going to stop sharing. And then
So what I'd like to do right now, if everybody's on, and Jamie, I know you got your hand raised. Does anybody want to ask a question, or should we go through some of this, or do you maybe just want to start working with some of it and then just see if you've got questions, and we can definitely hang out, because I just think it's about having the right tools. And again, here's the link that we'll be sending out. We'll send out this recording as well. And you might end up using kind of a hybrid, right? And so I guess just as we kind of talk through this, which one of the calendars, we've got the printable calendar, we've got some Google Sheet views, we've got that editorial calendar from Erica. Anybody know which one they're going to try out this year? Because again, like you said, Erica, once you start using it, you'll know how to change it going forward. And
that's
there's
exactly right.
yeah. So Jody, the editorial calendar is your jam. I love it. I think that's really going to help you. I mean, at a glance, and I like the way that you have it too, Erica, in that you've got the years. What did I do? I copied my own post. Hang on. I think I copied the wrong little link.
Here,
Hang
I
on.
can.
No, I got it here.
You got it? Okay.
I just need to make sure that I have it here. There we go. I like it that, it's the whole year in one little spreadsheet, and you've obviously got those frozen up there so you can scroll down. But I also like how you've got it broken out into the weeks. Because then that helps break things up and maybe not be quite so overwhelming. To me, like in my world, I would use this for like planning my stuff out for the month, but then that day-to-day stuff, I would probably just post and not worry about putting it in here. I would be worried about having to do those analytics, but it's great if you can have it at a glance, because I really like the fact that you've got multiple years here, so that you can go back and you'd be like, okay, what did, you talk about those themes, guys, those theme ideas. You might want to look at Erica's stuff and what kind of stuff she was sharing, an open house, an open house schedule, right? In August, you're going to want to make sure to share about those things. And so that's really, really awesome. Jamie has a similar content calendar as Erica, and here is hers from Claire Moore. So she's got her dates, her 6 a.m., noon, 7 p.m. She's got the platforms and the different sites. So she's got different sites within her school as well. So that's awesome. Ashley, you're going to use the printable and the editorial. Probably share with your superintendent so he's in the loop. And then Sylvie, you're going to try to integrate that into your Microsoft online calendar. Just figure out how to add the different platform options, maybe color codes. Yeah. How important are these calendars to use, Amy? It's just up to you whether this is going to help you or not. It's not a necessity at all. But I think it's an awareness and a feeling of maybe control that you have that. Is that what that gives you, Erica?
Yeah, I think accountability. Just so if I feel, well, this is just the way it works with a busy life, right? Is I'll be, if I don't, if when I wasn't doing this, it would be 7 o'clock at night, and I was like, I didn't post today. So rather than trying to always feel like I was behind all the time, I was trying to get in front of it. So um, sometimes it's a little bit of a mix of both, but this has helped. It's probably the one thing in my school PR career that has really been a game changer in how I was doing my work, and able to add some strategy in rather than just feeling like I was posting whatever I saw all the time.
Right.
Andrea, I saw a question from Josh here about,
Yeah.
he's a one-person department with 18 schools.
Oh boy.
Deep breath, Josh. So how do you work with administrators to curate planned content for your district? So you could work with administrators. I really have always liked Andrea's idea of going to your staff directly and giving them a number of photos or items you'd like them to send you. Do you usually do per month, Andrea?
Yeah, we usually ask for 1 or 2 things a month.
The other thing you could do, if your administrators are at all competitive, is I always tag the school whenever I post about them. So who's getting more mentions? And it's based on who's sending you more things. So that's also a strategy you could use.
Yeah, that's great advice. And we've got some really good questions here. I want to start with Amy, how important are these calendars? I tend to start using it and then stop. I'm totally like Amy, you and I are on the same page, okay? For me, something like this that I can glance at for the year or for the month at a time, because then I can kind of get a plan for that month's content of what should I be aware of. That's really good for me. And I don't need to go in and write every single post out, because to me, my planned posts are in Creator Studio, which apparently is going away, and Facebook's going to give us something else because that's what Facebook does. But we're here together. We'll get through it. But that's what I really use as my, hey, that's how I know it's scheduled out. But I think it's good to have a home base of just what should I be aware of. I like this calendar, and maybe you would take your school calendar and you just write a few of these dates on that one. That would be fine as well. The other thing that I want to just talk about, and this especially, Josh, is to your thought about how do I get content ideas? Okay, you know how every week you get the weekly email from Social School for EDU, from Melissa, the crew, and she's giving you out, hey, here's some upcoming dates to remember. I think letting your schools know that those dates are coming up will be helpful, because you guys, social media is about celebrating what's actually happening at your school. It is not your job as the social media person or the communications person to create all of these things. Your real job, I believe, is to celebrate what is happening. Sometimes those people need reminders that, hey, read a book day is September 6th. And so make sure that you send me in those pictures where, if you're reading a book in your classroom, IT professional day. Yes, you might just do a shout out to your IT folks with a nice little graphic in that case. But in some cases, maybe they're getting like a break off of their phone, or they got cake, or whatever, and that's a celebration of what's actually happening. So I just like to bring us back to that it's not our job to make sure all these things happen. It's just our job to kind of get the information out there and then say, hey, send me your photos, and then I will make sure to celebrate those. And so and I would say, since I started back in 2014, I've kind of, a lot of times I was trying to force a lot of that. And it's like, you can lead a horse to water, can't make them drink. So it's just like, if you've got it to celebrate of what's actually happening. So I hope that helps. Does that make sense to you, Erica?
Yeah, it really does. I talk to our staff a lot about small moments, that it's the small moments that matter. It doesn't have to be big and fancy and shiny. It can be a kindergartner writing on a whiteboard, and that will make a connection with your community because they remember when they did that or when their students did that. So uh, just I always just try to shine a spotlight on these are our schools. It's not just our buildings, or it's not just that we're with remote learning. These are the faces of the people in our schools. So
Right.
yeah, and there's lots. I find that there were many things that I didn't even know was happening when our staff are more responsive about posting, or
Right.
at least sending things to post.
Yeah. I just want to point out one thing, you guys. In your emails that you get from us, crew is always in like parentheses to start out with. So if you're ever looking for anything, I mean, just enter crew, because that's kind of what we call ourselves here. So that's there. But you guys feel free. I mean, these dates to remember, pretty easy to copy and paste, and then send that out in an
Mhm.
announcement or email to your internal team. And maybe you don't want to recognize some of these things, or you want to add things, you certainly could. But I just think trying to keep those on top of mind might be helpful, and I sure hope those are helpful for you. I know they're helpful for me. So Kimberly had a question. Do you measure your analytics for performance on a separate document, Erica?
Ah, no. So this is another area of improvement. But I will say, the year I was adding analytics, we were using a social media tool that provided them. So I literally could just run a report and it would show me the top 5 posts of that month and the impressions it made across platforms. And so that's how I was adding those analytics. We're transitioning away from that tool. So I don't know yet is the answer. So I haven't been tracking because I had a tool that did it, even though I wasn't necessarily looking at it faithfully, especially this past year. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen there. It may very well stay blank again, and that's okay. I'll try again next year, right?
Yeah, yeah, and Ashley had a lot of questions about
Yeah.
recording your analytics. So it's I think Ashley, we did a blog. And I actually gave a template to do like a monthly report card. Of course, Ashley's just transitioning from our full management program where we were doing it quarterly. You could definitely stick with quarterly, or you could do it monthly. I think looking in Facebook where you got that 28-day option is great.
Mhm.
And again, in Facebook, the Business Suite app on your phone, it's very easy over the last 28 days to get like your top posts. And so
Mhm.
that's a quick glance, every 4 weeks that you're looking at, hey, what really did resonate? Maybe, doing a screenshot and sharing that back with folks and things like that. So, and then there are, just so you know, there are ways when you go into Insights that you can actually download data, and you can do it by certain times. And so see how you can export the data, and you can get a whole bunch of different things, and you can do different ranges. I think there's some limitations to how much, 90 days at a time, maybe. So you could like put that together. But there are so many ways to look at data. But I think, when you look at all of your posts, and if you're looking at it monthly to really see, hey, what really resonated, again, what you're going to see is the stuff that reaches the most people are the ones with the most shares,
Mhm.
and then comments second, likes obviously third. So But Ashley, that blog, just so you know, and just so everybody as a reminder, on my blog, you can type in any keyword. And if you just type in report card in there, how to create a social media report card in less than an hour. And so it'll kind of talk you through everything that we look at, and a little bit more. And then you actually have a template in the Canva directory, which is in our Facebook group, that you can use and populate. So I hope that helps.
I had literally just pulled that last week because since I know I'm transitioning away, I'm going to try to set myself up for success. And so you've inspired me.
Yeah, awesome. We inspire each other. So Kimberly's asking, do you add video production into your editorial calendar as well?
I don't, but you could. You
Awesome.
could. In general, I mean, I have that editorial calendar, but then I also use Google Calendar mostly for appointments. And I also have my daily tracker, like where I add notes and see what's coming up on my to-do list. So I'm a little bit of a hybrid as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, the report card is right here on our Canva directory. This is a great thing to check out over the summer months, you guys, just to kind of feel it out, see what's available to make your job a little easier. But it's right here on top of the other. And then when you click into that, and obviously some of you have made some of your own and people have shared those. So once you have a template, it's pretty easy. I like this one because we can add some of the pictures, so it makes it a little bit more visual. We used to just have a lot of charts, which charts are great too, but you know, keeping it to one page is nice because you could put it into your Board of Education meeting, right, and show people. Because I think showcasing your work is important. You guys put a lot of work into this, and so that's good. Jamie started a monthly report card. She presents that at your first leadership meeting each month. It's made a huge difference in communicating the importance of what we do. Yeah, Jamie, because you're getting a ton of reach. People don't realize that. And then it's like, holy cow, this is an awesome method to get the news out and celebrate our district in a big way. Yeah, the Canva directory is awesome. And I just added a new, well, I will be adding a new, gosh, is it on here? I just added it in the discussion, but for new staff, we created a little template if you want to introduce new staff. I swear I posted it, Erica, but maybe there's just been a lot of activity. Oh, there it is. So this is here if you want. There's just, you know, you can obviously, it's got a little bit of purple or whatever here with your hashtag. And then this is a different version where if you had a picture like that. So anyways, and you can make it different than that. And you can just include a picture of new staff too. But yeah, Miss Thing. Allison's got a great personality, and it comes across in all her work. But yeah, so, okay, Kathy, I've heard Erica talk about her editorial calendar before, and I'm always been inspired. Today's the day. Woo!
Do it.
I'm doing something about it. Feels good to plan and think about strategy. I love it. And like I said, you guys, what we have to do together is, you know, you may take parts of this and you may say, you know what, I tweaked it a little bit. Obviously, this is what works for Jamie at Claremore. And so, you know, if you're going to be able to take some of this and make it work for you. And Erica, you've been so gracious to be able to give this to everybody to make a copy and be able to use it if you want. Yeah, and we are so reactionary, right? It's hard, but together I think we can try to stay on top of it. And I'm always grace, not grief, as Kristen Boyd Edwards' video said. Give yourself some grace as well. You know, we do the best we can. I feel like this next school year, it's going to be a whole different kind of busy, right? After the COVID stuff. And there's a lot of projects, I'm sure, and the COVID stuff isn't over either. So, but there's a lot of projects I'm sure that you've pushed aside or that you do have slotted. But if you can take Kathy, like Kathy's going to take today, like today is her day to really get organized, that's going to have an impact on the rest of your year. if you can do it right. And we gave you a whole bunch of tools, okay, several different ones. And I just want to challenge you to set aside the time, put down your phone and turn it off. Make sure that you are, just not distracted and just focus on this for an hour or two. You will get so far and it will have, really rippling effects on your entire year. So any other questions or any other things that you wanted to add, Erica, as we're talking?
I don't think so. I mean, I really think the key is making it work for you. And if there's not a tool out there that looks just like what you want, then make it yourself.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. It's ripping something off and then trying to make it work for the ways that my brain works.
Right, exactly. And you gave yourself, like in some of these, you had like a toggle, right?
There are, yeah.
But maybe mine's not toggled because,
Let's see. Try to go to like 21, 22. There should be a toggle. Oh, yours doesn't toggle. That's interesting.
but maybe it's because I need to just make a copy or something. But anyways,
I wonder if it says it's view only. There is a toggle, and I have no idea how I did that, but Google it on to create.
Let me just, I'm gonna make a copy right now, and then I'm gonna see if it pops up.
If it doesn't, let me know. I will try to figure out how to share that. It doesn't.
Oh no, it does.
There we go.
So as soon as you make your copy, guys, that'll be there. And Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube app. You could add more if you needed to. This is great. Quick question for you, Erica. Are you making different graphics for Facebook and Twitter?
I'm not.
Okay, so that's important, you guys, because I mean, Erica's a one-person shop. Like, she doesn't have time to I mean, you can use Magic Resize, but that's not always perfect either. These graphics are clickable and you can read the whole thing when you open it up big. And some of the viewable stuff in Twitter is actually changing so that you can see it more. So it's, I don't know. But yeah.
No, I'm not. You're right. No one has time for that. Well, someone probably has time for that. I don't have time for that.
Do you make most of your graphics square?
I do, for the most part.
Yeah, because then they work on Instagram well, they work on Facebook well. For a while, Facebook was putting that funky, like a little border, but I don't know if they're still doing that or not. But anyways, that's okay, guys. Like everything can't be perfect. And but yeah, just like this one for Joelle, they don't have a district Twitter account, but she uses their hashtag and stuff. But she created this for Facebook. It looks great on Facebook, and then she can put it here as well. And then if she wanted to put it on Instagram, it would be there too. So awesome sauce. You guys, I'm not going to steal any more of your time. I'm going to let you get busy. What I would really love for you to do, I'll share this recording. I'm going to share, and I'll get this out via email as well, just so that you guys have it. We also recapture, actually, I'm not going to email it out separate today. You get it emailed to you by Friday, but it's going to be in the skills directory. Right, so in our section here, you go to files, and then it's our skills training, and this will go right on top, and it'll have a link to the video, and it'll also have a link to this document, which has a link to all the other documents. So that'll all be there, but it'll also show up in the discussion. But what I'd love to do for everybody who is still on, like 26 of you, let's help hold each other accountable. Let's share out in the discussion. Like when you hey, I've got mine started. I'm really proud of this. Share it back. And, maybe it's in the next month. Okay. I'm not going to say you got to have it done tomorrow, because we don't need to set those unrealistic, but hey, maybe by July 1st or right around July 15th, you've kind of got this set up. And I mean, we're going to have a toast to that, because you're going to feel really good. So,
here's my cup. There we go. I'm ready to toast.
Yes. Definitely. All right. Well, you guys, I'll also share the chat notes always. And everything that was linked over there will be there as well. Keep up the great work. We have so much planned for this summer to support you. Next week, we're actually going to have another skill session with another member talking about Facebook engagement. We're actually doing quite a few roundtable discussions this summer, so that we can just talk about what's on your mind, what's working, what's not working. Maybe we'll be talking about your content, your editorial calendar. But we're just here to support you. And so I'm just so thankful that we're here together. And just a quick plug, because some of you may be getting awards next week. I have my first ever Best of Social Media Awards happening next Thursday, noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. It's happening live on my Facebook page. It's a Facebook premiere. I did the video yesterday. I am like relieved now that that's over, but it's a fun celebration. We're giving away 12 awards. But it's also a teaching thing, because I really pointed out why these people, and so you're going to get a ton of ideas from that. And so that's coming up next Thursday. And believe me, some of you are going to win some awards next year, because we're going to get even more applications and all of that. So you guys have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you so much, Erica, for helping us out.
Thanks for having me. If anyone has questions, reach out anytime in the Facebook group, email, whatever works.
Awesome. We appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.